Going on, everyone? So we've gotten a ton of player just pics of them working out, doing various trainings, even videos of guys like Gabe Vincent. We've seen Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, Anthony Davis we covered, him in the gym working out. And of course, LeBron James, right? He's the one guy you never really have to worry about, right? He's the guy that puts more money into his body than many of us will ever see in our lifetime. This guy is the epitome of just an athlete and fitness and health, and one of the greatest just athletes we've ever seen. And even as he gets into the later years, he continues to defy the odds. And we got some new images that show that he's looking good. He's out there. He's in shape, as, again, not a big shocker. It's not like, oh my God, like, can't believe LeBron James looks slim and fit and ready to go. Especially as we continue to ramp up, that we'll have the players only camp that LeBron likes to put on with his teammates, and then that'll lead into the actual training camp, and then this season. And I am pumped. I could not be more excited. And look, I really think that this is arguably LeBron James's deepest roster he's ever had. Now, he's had rosters that were very top heavy. The first 5 to 6 guys, 7 guys were very top heavy. But this is a roster where there's legit like 13 guys on this roster that you can make an argument for. And at least 10 of them that you can make an argument for the starting position, right? Obviously, you got Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. That was the starting 5 last season. Post-trade deadline, that'll very likely be the starting 5 this season, is my guess, is what they'll kind of try to keep that continuity. Now, I do think that they'll try some things, right? You play Minnesota, maybe you start Rui to match up with Cat, or maybe you do go the Jackson Hayes and Anthony Davis type lineup. Maybe one day they decide, hey, let's go and try Gabe Vincent at the point. Let's try Rui at the 3 and see how that goes, depending on certain matchups, stuff like that. So I do think that there is a lot of versatility here. But this roster, as far as size goes, talent, 1 through 14, because we still got to get another guy. That'd be Christian Wood or somebody else, and who knows if they fill in that other roster spot, right? And then if the Lakers do add Christian Wood, there's an argument to start Christian Wood. So the Lakers are in a very good position, and LeBron James is in a very good position, which he needs. He's only getting older. Year 21, he's going to be 39, right? He's a guy that people usually you see when guys play this late, they are a shell of themselves, right? You'll see a lot of these guys that were 25 point a game guys that are like 11 point a game guys, and they're just kind of on the court there just to be on the court, or they're just locker room guys, or they're just, role players that are coming off the bench, or even if they are starting, they're not like the main pieces or anything. LeBron last year was still a top 10 player. You can make an argument top 5. I mean, the guy was still 38-8. And this year, I imagine he's going to be the same, because it's like every year we talk about, oh, this is the year that LeBron falls off. This is the year that LeBron, father time catches up to him. And every year he defies the odds. The one thing that is starting to catch up, though, is the injuries, right? It's like every year since he's been with the Lakers, he's had some type of injury. Some less severe, some more severe. Obviously, he was dealing with that foot injury that supposedly he needed surgery on. We don't know if he had surgery or not, but he said himself that if he was going to have surgery, nobody would know about it, right? That he would just get it done and then just be done and move on and be ready for training camp. And he looks like a guy that's ready for training camp, right? So whether he did or didn't, that's neither here nor there. My concern is, will that foot injury start becoming a persistent thing? Like, is that something that's going to end up kind of haunting him the rest of the way for his career, right? But the beauty of this roster and this depth and this talent is LeBron doesn't have to overexert himself. We saw last year, LeBron was doing everything he could to kind of keep us afloat. He was obviously trying to chase history and become the all-time leading scorer, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And you saw, like, as soon as he did that, he got hurt, right? Because it's just, he was doing too much and overexerting himself, right? It's one thing to have to do that for, you get to the playoffs and he's got to go give us 38-8 in the playoffs for a game or two in a series. It's another thing to have to do that for 30 straight games or whatever. Anthony Davis goes down. It's like, okay, well, we need LeBron. And even then, it's like, how many times did LeBron score 30-plus points and the Lakers still lost? Where this year, I actually think we could win games without LeBron. And we have a roster that is good enough to weather LeBron taking a week off or taking a couple days off, whether it's through injury or just like, hey, let's get him some rest, right? Because we need him for the playoffs. Look, I've said this before, and I firmly believe this. Now, obviously, chemistry and, there's a lot that goes into it. But at least on the surface, you look at this roster. I actually think that this roster, if LeBron James said, hey, I'm just going to come back 10 games before playoffs and then play in the playoffs just so I'm fully healthy, you guys ride this season, I actually fully believe the Lakers would still make the playoffs. Now, you'd need MVP level Anthony Davis, but MVP level Anthony Davis, which he looks really good. I made a whole video about that. But if we get MVP level Anthony Davis and the current roster we have with Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, all three of those guys more than capable of going off for 20 plus any given night, could give you 30 on any given night. We've seen Rui do it. We've seen D'Lo do it. Austin Reeves, right? Like, these are all guys that can go get buckets, that can do multiple things. You got the defense. I firmly believe the Lakers are going to be top 5 defense number 1 defense, top 5 offense is what I meant. And that would make them one of, if not the best teams in the entire league. Because the only team that was top 5 in both offense and defense last year were the Boston Celtics. Lakers were number 1 in defense and 7th in offense. I think the Lakers probably average about 120, maybe 118 points per game this season. And for those that are like, that's a lot, that's too high, they averaged 116 last year. So to think that with this roster, Austin Reeves emergence, D'Angelo Russell for a full season, Rui Hachimura for a full season, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think that they could average an extra 2 to 4 points per game, right? I don't think that that's kind of odd at all. And so I really do think the Lakers are going to win a lot of games. And they have a grueling schedule. So LeBron's going to need as much help as he can get. But I do believe that this is a roster that is more than capable of making the playoffs, even with LeBron missing 20-plus games. Now, I don't think he's going to miss like 25, 30, because he has to play 65 games if he wants to have all of the accolades or qualify for all the accolades. And I don't think he's going to want to give that up. So he's got to play at least 65 games. But I could see him playing about 30 minutes per game. And I know a lot of people are like, LeBron isn't going to do that, all of that. But like, even in like the bubble year, he only played like 32 minutes a game. And he's had the fewest minutes of his career since coming to the Lakers outside of the 2021, 2022 season, the season with Carmelo and Russ and all that. That was the only year that he played like 37 minutes a game that season. So outside of that, he's only played about 32 to 35 minutes a game. And to think that he wouldn't be willing to just play 2 less extra minutes, I don't think is that big of a deal. I also think LeBron, he knows and has to pace himself. And there's no way LeBron isn't looking at this roster going, all right, I got enough talent, I got enough depth. We just came out of the Western Conference Finals, right? I need to take a step back. He's talked about it and has preached that he wants it to happen for the last several seasons. Like since winning in the bubble year, he's said, I don't want to be the point guard and I don't want to have as much responsibility because I'm getting older, right? Well, you have a roster where you don't need that. LeBron's still going to go get his 20 plus. He's still going to be a 28-8 guy because it's LeBron James, right? He steps on the court and you already have a 20-point guy, right? Just being on the court, he's going to get his 20. So I'm not worried about him going and getting his points. But I could see him playing, 30 minutes a game. And I wouldn't be shocked if he plays a couple games and he only plays like 15 minutes or whatever. Because you got to keep in mind, all the games that he does play, he also has a double-digit streak that he wants to keep and maintain. So I wouldn't be shocked if there's a couple games where just because he wants to hit the accolades, where he goes and plays and just gets his 10 points. Maybe he plays like 4 minutes in the first quarter and is aggressive early and goes and gets like 6 straight points or something like that, or 8 straight points, or maybe gets his 10, and then the rest of the way he only plays like 3 or 4 minutes each quarter, right? So he ends up playing like 16 to 20 minutes total that game, and it's like, wow, like LeBron really only played 20 minutes. Like, well, yeah, he would have taken the day off if he could have, but the new CBA, the new rule changes. He needs to get a 65, right? He needs to get to 65 games. And I mean, he's been in the lab, he's been working. There's these images as you see on screen. We've talked about it along the way. Again, you don't have to worry about LeBron James. But I also see him really being willing to defer to Austin Reeves. And I really do think Austin Reeves is going to play a huge role for the Lakers this year. One, we saw LeBron's willingness to defer to Reeves and kind of let him run the show and allow him to kind of take over, right? That was something we saw. Lakers want to allow Austin Reeves to play point guard more and have more playmaking duties and handle the ball and kind of be on the ball more, which if that's the case and that's really a plan that you really are looking to do and want to do, then it makes sense that LeBron James would play off the ball more and LeBron James would kind of let and relinquish some of the duties to Reeves. Also, D'Angelo Russell, I wouldn't be shocked if he'd be willing to kind of defer and allow him to kind of run the show a little bit during the course of the regular season. Because he does. It's in his best interest to take a step back. And you do have great scorers and playmakers in Reeves and D'Lo, right? Both of those guys are more than capable of running the offense, are more than capable of going off and getting you 20 a night, and can still get you 20 and go get you 6 to 8 assists, right? I mean, even D'Lo was 17 and 6 last year, right? Austin Reeves, once he got into the playoffs, he was basically almost 17 a game, and gave you basically 17, 5 and 5, basically, right? So, or 17, 4 and 4, right? So this is a guy that, again, go get you 20 a night, and on top of that, go get you 5+ assists a night. I really think he's probably an 18, 5 and 5 guy, somewhere in that ballpark. And like, I know, like, I've had people kind of push back on that and go like, those are like all-star level numbers and all that stuff. That, yeah, I think he will be borderline all-star. And I've even had people say, like, well, think of like all the Hall of Famers that have had that. We're in a different NBA. We're in a different era, right? It's not like 20, like if you scored 25 points a game, you were ridiculous, right? You were considered one of the greatest scorers of all time, right? Think of guys like Carmelo Anthony only averaged like 23 a game for his career. Last year we had like something like 30 guys or whatever that averaged 18 to 30 a game. Like, that's insane. Right? Like, and it's just increasing year in and year out. More and more guys are averaging 20 plus. Offensive output is getting higher and higher and higher. We had more guys, more teams average 115 points per game than we've ever had. Like, it's not like 25 and 5 in today's NBA is like the equivalent of like, 10, 3 and 3 20 years ago, right? Like, and no one would have thought that was weird. And there's also been a lot of guys that haven't been that great, right? Like Tyreke Evans was a 25 and 5 guy. I mean, his rookie year, he averaged 25 and 5. Something like that. Yeah, I think it was 25 and 5. Right? Like, so it's not what it used to be. Austin Reeves is playing with Team USA. He's thriving. He's building confidence. We have seen what the impact Team USA does for players when they go to the league and, rejoin the respective teams and stuff. I believe LeBron will take that step back. I think LeBron trusts Reeves. He knows Reeves has that IQ, and I think he lets him thrive. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think of Austin Reeves? What do you think of him kind of being the primary guy and LeBron kind of taking a back seat? Do you think he'd be willing to do that? What are your thoughts on LeBron and how he looks? And are you pumped for him this upcoming season? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.